And welcome to the Monday, July 14th meeting. Madam Secretary, can we have a roll call in order to determine the quorum, please?
Sure. Cooney,
Present.
DeBeat,
Present.
LaRue,
Present.
Sure.
Present.
The directors absent are Connard, Phillips, and Snyder. We have a quorum.
Thank you. Can you stand to recite the pledge, please? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you and welcome all. So the item that we have is Citizen Speaks, in case if we have anyone to approach the board and talk. You will have 3 minutes. Per Iowa code, we cannot engage in any discussion during that presentation. Anyone would like to address the board? Okay, so thank you. Moving forward to board targets, goals report. Item A, students will graduate prepared for post-secondary options. Item B, Muscatine schools will utilize resources effectively and equitably. And under this item, we do have a presentation, but first, item C, students will learn in a positive and supportive environment. So we go back to item B, Muscatine schools will utilize resources effectively and equitably. And with us tonight, Mike Henson. So he will be reporting and presenting about the activity updates at the high school and the school district.
All right, thank you. I appreciate the opportunity to come in and give you kind of an update on the 24-25 school year for the activities department. I'll try and run through these as quick as possible for you. So, there we go. Basic things we'll go over. I'll go over all of our programming, our participation numbers. Want to highlight some of the accomplishments for the year, and then kind of end with just kind of a summary of how the activities department works from a financial perspective, and then I'll leave it for questions at the end for you there. Right now we serve 23 programs. That does include a sports programs, that includes our cheer and pom. Fine arts is, we have 5 different groups through there, whether that's band, choir, orchestra, drama, show choir through there. And then we have over 30 clubs that we offer up at the high school in various forms, from Model UN, yearbook, newspaper, etc. 3 new programs that we've added recently. Trap shooting is getting started here. Mr. LaRue is helping us get that going. Rugby, we started this last spring as well, and esports. This is actually the 2nd year, and they've done really well this year. I'll mention that a little bit later, but the esports program is gaining some real good traction for us. Our kids participate at the high school level, just in the sports side, in over 500 events this year between the 23 sports, our musicals, our band concerts, etc. And of those, over 170 of them are held at the high school. Or baseball in this case, or the soccer field over the course of a year. So we stay pretty active, and in fact, we just wrapped up our last home event Saturday night when our girls won their first round game for softball. They play tomorrow night for a chance to go to state at Pleasant Valley. So a little bit, I thought some maybe find interesting, a little breakdown by grade, and then from there, males and females, to get an idea of what kind of participation we're looking at. Here you can see blue representing the males, red on the females, but you get an idea of kind of by grade. Our sophomore class is our busiest class this year. The trend usually is freshmen are your biggest, sophomores, they tend to specialize a little more as they go along. But both our sophomore and junior class have kept their participation numbers up really well. Again, I don't know why that. Then by gender a little bit. Here I went by season, cutting it down a little differently. You can see here that spring by far is our busiest season. 2 of our biggest teams usually are our track team and our soccer teams. And so that's why those numbers tend to be a little bigger. There's, especially in the winter for girls, there's very few offerings. You have basically bowling, basketball, and wrestling are your 3 options versus the other seasons, obviously except summer. Summer when we just have baseball and softball, but compared to fall and spring, winter just has fewer options available for our girls especially. Our participation in the fine arts area, you can see we had 123 participate in marching band, another 173 in the concert band. I won't read all those numbers. I know you got most of those in advance. But you can see the breakdown there, what we've done in those 5 different areas. I thought it was kind of interesting to look at some of the records. We had a number, our students really excelled this year. We had a number of records set from, you can see there, from volleyball to cross country to bowling. 2 of our bowling kids finished in the top 5 in the history of the school. Track team did really well. All of those are new school records that you see on there. Those are all on the boys' side. Give you a second to look at those. And then on the girls' side, Avery Bradley set a record in the 400 hurdles, and she's a freshman through there. And then we had a couple players of the year. Kavion Hodges was in boys basketball. And then this just came out today, so it may not have been in your original report, but Skylar Peterson was named Player of the Year for softball as a junior. So it's impressive given some of the teams we have. We probably have 4 or 5 ranked teams in our conference, some with really good talent, and to have her as a junior get that honor is pretty special. Again, running down team, this is kind of more team honors. There, our boys basketball is conference champions. We had 2 state titles, 1 in boys bowling, you see there, and then at the bottom, mentioned that our POM squad won a state title as well. And again, you've seen, I don't want to read each one to you, but you can see through there some of the honors that these kids accomplished this year. Also, I threw softball in there that they're looking tomorrow. They're looking to take their 4th trip in a row to state. They've placed no lower than 5th, also 2/3 in there. And as I mentioned earlier with esports, their first year of real competition, they ended up 2nd in the state in the fall season. So did really well. We actually had 3 of our coaches get Coach of the Year. And boys basketball, girls soccer, and then just announced today, Steve Hopkins was Coach of the Year for softball. So that was an ad I just put in today. This gets us to the last piece, which is the financial piece. So breaking this down just a little bit, when activities looks for funding, we have basically 6 pots of money to look at through there. The general activities account, each sport or activity, band, et cetera, has their own activity account. Occasionally we will work with the finance department to use a little bit of PEPL funds, depending on what the project is and what we need. We have some of the stuff that we have fall under the category of safety and equipment, helmets, are a big safety item, shoulder pads, et cetera, that would fall there. And then the Maine Booster Club, the Muskie Boosters, are a great supporter of ours. Last year they donated to the individual programs over $75,000. And then a number of our booster sports have their own booster club. Football, softball, or just to name a couple, but not all of them do, but a lot of them have their own booster club that they raise funds to help get kids what they need to compete. So, but for general athletics, just to give you a brief breakdown, you can see there where our money comes from. Because people have asked before, they've asked me before, how do you get your money? And the biggest one is gate receipts, But we also are good at getting sponsorships ourselves, selling ads like you see on our video boards, et cetera. Some of our tournaments, we do entry fees. Like golf, we charge an entry fee to be in our golf tournament on the boys' side. And then we have activity passes. And then, as I said before, Booster Club, and we do sell a little bit of merchandise. It doesn't raise a lot, but it does bring in a little bit of money. Our main expenses, you can see there, because that's another question you always get, where does all of our money go? As an example, we paid this year approximately $45,000 for all of our officials, for all of our sports, by the time we get done with the year. Our gate receipts, as an example, were a little over $105,000. So basically 40% of what we get in gate receipts are turned around and handle just what officials we need to cover officials. Uniforms, equipment, and then state events and entry fees. So anytime we go to a state level event, we cover for hotels and meals for kids. To show you a few comparisons year over year since I've been here, 21-22 would have been the baseline year, and then I started in 22-23. You can see we've had anywhere from a 7 to 14% growth from year to year. This last year is about 4% from the fiscal 24 to fiscal 25 year. Our expenses on there stayed pretty steady around $200,000. I will tell you, in that first year I was here, we had a good sized balance in the account to start with, so I used the opportunity we bought some extra equipment. We bought hurdles and high jump pits and another number of stuff that raised that first year number a little bit and brought the balance in the account down a little more, what I felt was a little more comfortable there. And then from there, we've steadily stayed around spending around $200,000 a year through the activities department. And how did I do? Pretty close to 10.
Really good. Really good on time.
So that was just a quick rundown, give you an idea of how things work. But I always wanted to leave it at the end. Any questions you have, any explanations? Yes?
As we walked in tonight, I asked him if he had any good things to say for us tonight. My question really for you is, because officials are always something that are just, very important in which to be able to have. Do we have a good amount of officials, or is that always a pull to find them? And, how does that handled?
The answer is they're getting harder and harder to find. We are fortunate that our conference, the MAC conference, works through an individual by the name of Mike Botts, who is in charge of finding all of our officials except for soccer. Soccer is handled by another gentleman, Greg Arney, but they get all the officials for all of our home events. So that is a blessing. But they are hard to find, and if I had a concern, it would be us having to occasionally cancel events. We had to do that this summer. The girls' union came out this summer and said you had to have 2 officials even on lower level games in order to host the game. Well, we had a JV game in mid-June where one official the Sunday night before a Monday game cancels on us. We couldn't get an official to replace them. The state said you can't play. You don't have 2 officials. We require it. We had to cancel the game. I'm afraid you're going to see more of that. The Valley Conference is going in football. They think they're going to be able to get more, because most officials do not want to do 2 games on a Friday night when it comes to football. So the Valley is going to the point where they will only play varsity games on Friday night. So when we go on the road and play Cedar Rapids, Jefferson, or Linn-Mar, or Iowa City Schools, we will only play 1 game at 7 o'clock on the road. We will play the lower level game on Thursday. And they feel they can get more, help spread out the officials over multiple days more. We are staying as a conference, we're agreeing to stay with 2 games on Friday night for now.
How does that work with the sophomores, say, for football? officiating for that?
That's what I would call curtain raiser game. And then every school is handling how they label those games differently. We are treating it as a fresh soft team. We do not have enough true sophomores to field a full team, so we combine with freshmen. Some of the bigger schools like Pleasant Valley, they will actually have their freshmen play. They go freshman varsity on Friday night, and then they play JV on Monday. And their JV is a sophomore-junior combination. So again, each school is going to be a little different in how they handle it. But for football, it'll be a sophomore-freshman group.
Mike, thanks for the information. And I have a quick question about e-sport. I know it's, relatively speaking, a new activity now. How many students, roughly, we have involved with that? And do you suspect that this will grow throughout the years in numbers?
I do expect it to grow. In fact, it has become, especially at some of the Division III schools, a scholarship sport. You can earn a scholarship in different esports games. Now, I'm not efficient enough to know which games they're always playing, but because there's a number of different ones. But I've watched kids get scholarships to go to Luther or Simpson or Central to play esports. Our current total depends on the season, because the fall you play a couple different games, and you play different games during the winter, and you play different games during the spring. But we've been running 8 to 10 kids with each group, but those numbers I do expect to grow. And they're not always the same kids from season to season.
Thank you.
I have a couple different questions. Number one is, participation is down, obviously, throughout all our sports. If we can't field a freshman football team, and I know we had a JV, we had more numbers in softball this year than we have in the past, but we previously could not field 3 teams. And have we done any kind of research or surveys to the student body of why participation is down, or with the coaches or something?
Surveying, no. We haven't done it. We certainly can, but we have not done any surveying to this point. We've relied a lot on surveys that have come from the state level. They've given us some kind of insight as to why statewide certain programs, football is a good example, that concussions have been a big reason why you've seen more data that's come out on concussions. It's led to more kids deciding not to play.
Yeah, I know some of the statistics that I have seen was the state put out that, for particularly girls basketball in 2008 had 10,000 participants, and this past year they had like 6,000. There was a number of schools that canceled their season and just played JV because of lack of participation. So I think it's statewide as far as girls basketball, and I don't know the reason, and I don't know if the state has done any kind of research on that or not.
Yeah, they did. They actually sent us a survey in the middle of the winter and asked our opinion. They went to the ADs and said, what do you think the reason is for the drop in girls basketball numbers? Because they were concerned. And so those results have not been shared back with us yet. I know what I told them, but it is a concern. And those numbers are dropping. I think we were at 16 girls for girls basketball this year. So Davenport Central had barely enough for one team. And Davenport Central softball, to show you to your point, participation numbers going down. Davenport softball, I was told just the other day, had to forfeit their postseason game with West, had to forfeit their postseason game. I think it was with West.
I think it was with West, yeah.
Yeah, because 4 of their girls were playing travel ball, which means they only had 7 girls left to play. And so I would say travel ball is, if you ask me what some of the issues are, travel ball is one of them. That, as an example, in the winter, travel volleyball club volleyball is very popular. It's a very popular sport, which is great. But at the same time, it pulls a number of girls that would maybe 20 years ago would be playing basketball. Now they have the option to go play on club volleyball, and they're taking it. And so it starts to reduce
Is
numbers.
the state looking at that information and maybe pushing the, say, baseball, softball seasons up to more spring, so they don't take care of all the summer? They could, my suggestion would be to start April 1st, be done June. They can have all their June or July and August to do their travel ball stuff. But that I know you can't answer that. I don't know. So, but that's my suggestion.
No, and I would tell you right now, we're being told that's not going to happen.
Okay.
And I think the biggest thing you saw on one of my slides, what season are we already the busiest? It's the spring. Right. So adding more people to the spring. In fact, they just moved girls' tennis from the spring to the fall. Again, that was one of the reasons. They're trying to start to balance out a little bit what's in the fall and what's in the spring. They were trying to move boys golf. We're already, 4A is the only level that plays fall golf. Everybody else is in the spring. They tried to move 1A, 2A, and 3A to the fall. And it met with such opposition after the word got out that they were going to do it, that they reversed course and left it in the spring. And the word we got back was, especially at 1A, 2A, they had enough golfers that were football players that they felt that some of them were going to have trouble fielding a football team, that kids would choose golf.
I have a couple other questions. Do we encourage our coaches to encourage their athletes to go out for other sports? Because we're not big enough to specialize. You know, we're not a West Des Moines Valley or a Waukee where they have an enormous amount of student body where they can specialize. We can't specialize, and so I think that, you know, are our coaches sharing athletes, or are they, you know, I've heard just recently, I had a parent come to me and say that there's a certain coach that says you will not go to to an opposing coach's open gym over the summer. So are we encouraging our coaches to share athletes?
We should be. We should be.
Right.
And
we can't afford to specialize.
Yeah, I agree. No, I agree, and we should be. I would tell you, I hear things like that every once in a while when I approach the coaches. I hope that's not happening. When I talk to coaches, they say they're encouraging it, but then I hear the other side of that coin where somebody is
and I'm sure you
saying
do.
it's happening.
You have coaches meetings, and I'm sure you emphasize that point. Well, now we have to have the backing for the coaches to do those things.
Yep.
I got one last question, you know, a lot of other schools our size have facilities for baseball, softball to hit in. We have the luxury of using the lab. Do we support that in any way, or is that coming out of the individual booster clubs, or I guess that's what it is.
We do support it, and we've mixed it up a few different ways. The first couple of years, everything came out of the fee to use the lab came out of the general activities fund. This last year, sorry, the sun's.
Yeah.
This last year, we divided it equally, but it was a third. So a third of it came out of baseball, a third of it came out of softball, and then a third was from the activities fund, because it's not a inexpensive bill, and it's the only time we use off-site facilities, and that we pay rent for. Usually, if we're going down to like soccer, it's or tennis or golf, it's public ground. So
Right. Okay. All right. Thank you.
yeah.
I have another one, but I knew he'd have a lot. He's our sports guy, yeah, for sure. Back to, though, with the refs and officials. My cousin-in-law was Jeff Tank, and Jeff was just such a go-getter for everything, and including, especially with all of the officiating and things like that. And I can remember having a conversation with him before he passed about how he really wished that the younger generation would take and step up, because a lot of the officials, you know, and no offense, you know, are getting older, and kind of interesting seeing some of them run down the court, you know, and stuff. And so I guess what I'm saying, back to that question when you're talking on how much it costs and if the officials are there, is there any way that what we can do to help with recruitment even or something to help get some of that younger generation
You
there?
can get your official's license, Karen, they're always looking for somebody.
Remember this white hair old lady part here.
I always recruit that when I get, I also recruit all of our parents too that like to yell from the stands what the call should be. They can get their license. No. Yeah, the state's doing something. We're trying to help the state with that. One of the things, and that's what you're seeing, and some of the other things that are going on is we're continually, don't broadcast this too much, I guess, but the officials know they're in the driver's seat. So one thing that is happening is prices are constantly going up. They're demanding more and more money to do events because they know they're in high demand and they're needed. And they're going to get compensated for their time, which I don't blame them on there. But the state is also working to do a number of different things to try and get the youth, the younger generation, to engage in officiating. And some of the schools, we've looked at the program. We're still trying to figure out whether we can incorporate it into the PE curriculum, but we actually would offer part of a class, a unit on officiating. And then the state is very good about working with individuals then from there to actually get their certification, which that process is fairly easy. It's just getting kids to be engaged and want to do it. But if we can even get one or two.
What's the age on that?
If you're still in high school, you can do junior high games and below. In order to do a high school game, you must be a high school graduate. So they're just trying to separate that. And so there's a number of kids, I'd love to tell them at the high school level, you get your license and you could get paid $60, $70 a night for a junior high basketball game for a couple hours work. Where else can you get paid $30 an hour? It's not a bad gig, so.
All right, thank you.
Any other question for Mike?
I don't have a question, but I just have one last comment, is that our boys are playing for the state, not state, semifinals, right?
Semifinals.
They're playing tonight against Cedar Rapids Kennedy. So I know Mike's probably anxious to get back over there and check that out somehow.
See where they're at, yeah.
Yeah, see where we are, so.
Yeah, they start in 18 minutes.
Yeah, if you find out, let me know.
Yep.
Text me or something. Thank you.
bet.
And
Thank you, Mike.
A couple quick comments. One thing, and Mike, correct me if I'm wrong, we have been working on tracking the percentage of students that are participating in at least one sport or activity every year. We've kind of determined how we're going to calculate that each year, so I think we're set on that. And I think that percentage right now is 65%.
Yep. I should have probably added that.
And so that's a number we want to continue to monitor and try to get that number up, right? We know even just one activity or sport or club that kids participate in and have that connection to school, their attendance is better, their grades are better, their behavior's better, all of that. And so when you see, we do have more activities and clubs than we've ever had before, right? Which is a good thing. And there are a lot of, again, there's a lot of options there. But trying to find that activity that'll fit some of those kids. I mean, I'm positive in our trap team, we probably had some kids who didn't do anything else, right? On that esports team, all of those, that makes a difference. So we want to continue to promote all of those sports and activities, and Mike and the high school, our staff do a great job of helping with that. So we appreciate all the work that you guys put into it.
Thank you. And good point. We did start to put that together. And it's a little harder with, one of the things to make it hard is that clubs, because people come in and out of those clubs and they don't always decide to make a roll call or roster out of it, because then sometimes people show up, sometimes they don't. So.
Are there an equal number of available activities for girls, as many as boys?
As it relates to anything through the Boys and Girls Union that's sanctioned, yes, that's a Title IX requirement that we have to make sure we have equal opportunity for both the boys and girls program. So yes, we're good there. And when it comes to the fine arts and clubs, those are, they're usually gender neutral. They include both boys and girls it's not gender specific. So so when it comes to the state sanctioned stuff, that yes, we are.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mike.
You bet.
Thank you. So moving forward, we move to our superintendent updates, please.
All right, got a few things that I just want to share with you tonight. First of all, this is the last week of Spark. It's been a great summer. They've just so many incredible activities and opportunities for our kids. Our staff and our community are so supportive, and just so many different groups are there every day supporting our kids. We've had great attendance this year. I think it's like 320, I want to say. So again, attendance has been strong, activities have been strong. If you get an opportunity, stop down, especially in the afternoon is when they do a lot of the, just some of those experiences and opportunities. But
Can we just stop in? We have to,
Yep,
we have to
just stop
call
in the office,
Candy or
let them know that
anybody?
you're there. And
Okay.
usually, especially in the afternoon, because they're used to bringing people in and saying, because they'll have groups that come in and different community members that are there to help out. So usually somebody's there to help navigate a little bit.
Okay.
So they would be happy to have you. Also want to let you know that registration has started. So that's up and going. As of this morning, we had 314 new student registrations. However, some of those are probably returning students as well, where parents just clicked on the link and finished filling out all of that additional information. So we're going to watch that really closely as we move forward. Ties in a little bit, especially as we look at our kindergarten. We're expecting our kindergarten numbers to be down this year. In the last year, we did the demographic study. The birth rate in 2020 was the lowest that we've had ever. That's the group of kindergartners we're getting in this year. That ties to the later in our action items we'll be approving. We're asking you to approve an updated study from RSP to kind of get a little more numbers on where that is. So every year we watch that really closely, as you know, for our enrollment. But that's up and running now, so doing a lot of promoting for that. Probably one of the bigger pieces I want to talk to you, spend a little time on tonight. You may be aware that we were notified last week of some of our federal funding. Our title funding was frozen by at the federal level from the administration. And my understanding is that was money. So for next year's Department of Education budget, they've eliminated a number of these programs already. What they're trying to do is freeze it for this year, even though it's already been allocated, right? Hasn't been sent to us yet, but it's been approved. And so they're kind of trying to get a jump on that by freezing it now. We don't know a lot of what that actually, how that will all play out. What I can tell you from our district, so right now the areas that have been frozen across the country, it's Title I-C, which is funds for migrant education, Title II-A, which is professional development funds, Title III-A, which is our EL funding from the federal level, Title IV-A, which is academic enrichment, and Title IV-B, which is before and after school programs. Now, in talking with Tom, the programs that we believe we'd be impacted would be Title II-A, which is what we use for class size reduction in our K-3 grades. We try to keep those primary grades as the class size as small as possible. For us, that's about $179,000. Title IV, that's that academic enrichment. We pay for some of our resource navigators out of that. We have a shared counselor with MCC that we use some of those dollars for, provide AP exams. There's some technology stipends in there. So, and that's about $80,000. There's also some Title III, but the AEA kind of services our district for those federal Title $3 for EL, and we don't get much of that, so that's probably not going to impact us as much. But all told, that's about $260,000. Now, there's been some conversation, and again, as more information comes out, whether it gets released, there's no timeline on when that might happen. It's our understanding that in some of these title programs, there's a list of concerning uses that they're concerned about, that they're gonna look at. And it also doesn't mean that they may decide we're gonna release this title fund and not these. So it's not like one big group of funds, right? They can treat them individually. And certainly, as you know, as I mentioned, especially our Title IIA, which is the biggest piece of that, it's staffing, right? That's people. And that's people we already have contracts for. And obviously, we know that class size is a priority that we want to be able to continue. So if we don't get those funds, we're still going to expend funds to do that. And that just, you know, it's got to come from somewhere. So we'll kind of continue to wait to see what we hear. But we also know moving forward, it may not be there either, right? So we'll continue to look at what areas we prioritize. And again, as a district, as you know, with our enrollment, we've been right-sizing for a long time, right? This isn't a new thing for us. And the longer you do that, the harder it is, right? And so again, that's where we're at today. And as things change, we'll certainly keep you updated on that, but that's how it'll impact us. And certainly larger districts is a bigger impact.
Do you have a total amount for those title programs, all you know, all of them?
For us, it's about
Yeah.
260,000.
Okay, you did say that, sorry.
And I believe I heard Moline is about 500,000. I would imagine Davenport's probably more than that. So again, the larger district size you go, the bigger the impact that's likely to have. Any other questions about that?
Really more from the standpoint of, so in other words, the intent for if they're looking to do away with that for next year, meaning that they're asking the states to actually be the ones to maybe do more of that funding?
My take on that is they're just going to eliminate that funding as an overall budget reduction.
All right, thank you.
Okay, any other thing on that?
No, anything else?
I've got a couple other things, just to let you know, and I've mentioned this before, we are transitioning to a new board software that will have all of our agendas and minutes and our board policies. So we'll be looking at transitioning to that. We're still, as you know, you still have the Google Doc in front of you. There'll be some training for you. Here's what I can tell you. For what you're gonna have to really do is to be able to log into a new link that'll be on our website. You'll log into that. That's where you'll access the agenda and information. That will become our kind of landing page for the public as well. So it shouldn't be, once we get you, you know, there's some training to get you logged in, username, password stuff. But other than that, it should be clicking in a similar format to what you see. It's just in a different system. So we probably will look at August for that, but it might be September. It just depends. We'll kind of keep you posted on that as well. But I think it'll be for you, it'll be a pretty easy transition. A number of districts are using this already. So in Iowa, it's not necessarily a new thing, but it was good timing for us. Also, want to welcome Michelle Jarrett to her first official meeting. So we're excited to have her. A couple of other things I just want to mention. So over the summer, we typically do not do community conversations. So we aren't doing them this month. We would look to restart those in September. So that kind of gets us through those summer months where we typically don't have a lot of public participation anyway, because school's not happening. So we'll look to restart those in September again. Okay. Any questions about that? Okay. And just the last thing, at Rotary today, it was the Rotary Scholarship Luncheon, which is always a great one for me to be at, because that's where the seniors who've graduated and received a Rotary Scholarship come, and they talk a little bit, and the different Rotarians can ask them questions. And so today we had, I think there were 5 individuals who received Rotary Scholarships. We only had 2 that could make it today. Unfortunately, Rin Miller and Cale Moss were there today and just did a great job. Rin is planning on attending MCC and studying ag and ag business, and was very involved in that here at the high school. And then Cale Moss will be attending Simpson, studying kinesiology. and also playing baseball for them. So, again, it's always a great group, and then it's just great to hear where they're going, what they're doing, why they make the decisions they did to go to the places they did, and so I always appreciate attending that one. So, and that's it for me. Any other questions?
Thank you, Clint. Appreciate that. So, thanks for the updates. So moving forward, we move into the possible action item of our agenda. The following items are considered to be routine by the Board of Education and will be enacted by one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a director so requests, in which event the item will be removed from the consent agenda and considered in its normal sequence from the agenda. The items are 1, minutes, 2, bills and claims, 3, employment recommendations, 4, statewide voluntary preschool 25-26 contracts, 5, 25-26 hourly employee handbook, 6, 25-26 MEA employee handbook, 7, 25-26 sub-teacher, sub-nurse handbook, 8, 25-26 administrators, directors classified handbook, 9, 25-26 hearing interpreter services agreement, 10, 26-27 Muscatine driver education contract, 11, third and final reading on policies, and finally 12 policies no minimum required by law. What are the wishes of the board?
I'll make the motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second?
So we have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
No discussion. No. Just a reminder on the consent agenda, it says no discussion. If we want to discuss, we just have to pull them individually.
Okay, thank you. So those of you who are in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposition? Okay, motion carried. That takes us to item N on our agenda, which is to approve property casualty insurance with Employers Mutual Casualty EMC in the amount of $891,000 and $222, and United Heartland for Workers' Comp in the amount of $371,110. What are the wishes of the board?
So moved.
Second.
So we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Okay, no discussion. So those of you are in favor of approving the property casualty insurance with Employers Mutual Casualties in the amount of $891,222 and United Heartland of Workers' Comp in the amount of $371,110. Please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Okay, motion carried. So we move into next item, which is to approve the purchase of a 2023 GMC Savannah 3500 passenger van from Next Gen Motors of Muscatine for a total of $45,175. What are the wishes of the board?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, motion and second. Any discussion?
How many passenger?
It's a 12-passenger.
Is this something that when it comes available, we need to buy because there's a shortage?
They are very hard to get, and yes, been in the process of trying to
Do we
replace them.
have, like, Next Gen, are we encouraging them to, because they buy their stuff on auction, obviously, you know, get it, and so are we telling Drew or to, anytime you get something like that, to give us a call?
Yeah, if they get anything in, generally he'll just go find them. I mean, they search all over the United States for them when we're ready to buy them. So, you know, they're really hard to get new.
Right.
and they're over 60,000 new, so we're doing pretty well. We try to keep the miles between 10, around 10 if we can.
Yeah, I see this is 9,300, so that's a pretty
Yeah,
good deal.
yeah, so we're saving some money doing it this way too, I think, and they're, you know, usually pretty.
So will this just phase out one of the older ones in, or what do we do then?
Yeah, we were short a van at the high school, special ed department at the high school, so the new ones we'll bring in for our trip vans. We'll take some of those, move them to the high school for their usage.
Any other question? Okay, those of you who are in favor of approving the purchase of 2023 GMC Savannah passenger van from Next Gen Motors of Muscatine for the amount of $45,175, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Okay, motion carried. Next item is to approve the RSP, the demographic study conducted by RSP Associates in the amount of $10,500. What are the wishes of the board?
Make the motion to approve.
Second?
So we have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Is this to look at boundaries or something like that?
Not necessarily boundaries, just, again, like where our enrollment is projected to go, where our birth rate is projected to go. They will work with city and county officials on plan development. It is quite a bit of information. I think the most important thing for us is where is enrollment going at the different levels, and also where the birth rate is going, because that's the big thing for us. We've been graduating more than we bring in every year. At some point, we know that's going to flatten out. It'd be good to know when that will happen.
Right, okay.
So this is just, needless to say, from the enrollment and everything standpoint, it has nothing to do with like how we've been working on from another aspect through the city, as in with the housing situations.
So a lot of this information we've shared with Collaborate Muscatine. We have representatives from the city. We have housing folks on that because obviously the enrollment, some of the different components of that they'll use. So it has been helpful for that as well.
Yeah, good, thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you. So we have a motion, second, and discussion. Those of you are in favor of approving the RSP demographic study conducted by RSP Associates in the amount of $10,500, please signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposition? Okay, motion carried. So next item is to approve the change order for the Muscatine CSD Center Phase 2 Auditorium Reno in the amount of $352,832.15. What are the wishes of the board?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Yes. Of course, my favorite topic of making sure that we have the proper AV and everything with that. So I'm going to jump right to an area in particular, if I could. And there is, for interpretation, assisted listening devices. One thing that I will say that a lot of times, it's either these with the phones or the thing that's around like the neck type of thing, is any of that in a Bluetooth nature, so that, well, the reason I say this is because more and more now hearing aids, for example, which I have my new hearing aid, which is definitely all Bluetooth, compatible. There's no way am I wearing those, and if this does not pair with what, is going on from my hearing aid, it will not assist me.
Mm-hmm. I don't know the answer to that, to be honest with you.
All right, see if you can find out on how that works. I'd appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So a lot of those things, they haven't even been purchased yet, so what happens is they'll put out an RFP to figure out what exactly they want, and then we'll have to approve it at some point, down the line, or I'll have to approve it. So they'll send it to me, and then I'll know the specs and what it is and how it works. So.
Good, so just make sure you have that in there, and if you have any questions, you can give me a call on it.
Got it.
And just a reminder, in the initial bids, the AV was over 500,000. We rejected that. They've gone back, relooked at it again, so we are reducing some of those costs. And from a timing perspective, they're working away right now, right? I think they were gonna pour concrete over the weekend is what they told me on Friday. So things are in process. We need to get these things ordered, so when the building is ready, it has speakers and microphones and all of the AV equipment necessary.
Yeah, and the AV part of this is gonna push back the total completion of the project, just because of the time frame of, all these speakers are built from scratch, basically. So we're probably looking at, mid to late fall, before it's completely, finished with the AV system.
Then the other question with it is, being that we had some concerns about where that money was coming from in which to pay that, where are we at on that subject?
So this is still coming out of district funds. So
So we're still in,
our PEPAL funds, correct? Fund 33.
Yeah.
thank you very much.
Thank you, Karen, for advocating.
I am a happy camper now, because we all know that I've been asking to make sure that, all that system was part of it. And I guess my last question would be, do we have to wait until it's all together to see, or can we actually have some kind of a tour about what's going on with the process?
Yeah, just whenever, shoot me an email if you guys wanna go down and walk through. We can walk through whenever we want.
I like that, thank you.
And just one last follow-up, obviously, there were some other pieces in that original bid process that did not get approved. The stage lighting, some of the rigging was not done. Again, we came and did a change order at the last meeting for the curtain, which I think was a part of that original rigging, so we did a little bit of that. And we can continue to work with some community partners to see if we can raise the funds to really get it all finished out right. So that's still in progress as well.
But we're still doing, the construction is still being, the infrastructure is still gonna be where.
It's ready for
will
all
be-
of it. It's
we can-
built to
yeah.
handle the stuff that
Right.
we will do. Correct.
Thank you. So those of you who are in favor of approving the change order for the Muscatine CSD Central Phase 2 Auditorium Reno in the amount of $352,832.15. Please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Okay, motion carried. Moving forward, we move into the next item, which is to approve the change order for the Muscatine High School Tennis Court, Reno, in the amount of $174,380. What are the wishes of the board?
I'll make the motion to approve the change order for Muscatine High School Tennis Court and the renovation in the amount of $174,380.
Second?
Any discussion?
A lot of this, Chris, is this because of the was it the United States Tennis Association
Yes.
requirements for us?
Yes, so, basically, they required us to input drainage within the courts, and not just let it run off like it does now. So there's 2 long drains that needed to be inserted in there, which created different grading issues, which means we had to bring in more rock. This number was higher. This is what the delay is too, if you notice, like nothing was happening.
It was over 200,000, correct?
Yeah, what's that? Sorry.
It was over 200,000.
Yeah, it was over 200,000, so that's kind of what we've been delayed on, because we went back and forth quite a bit over this and seeing if we could reduce the cost of that, because, the grant that we got it's gonna be for like 221,000, so it was a little, I was a little, perturbed that we got a grant for 220,000, then we had a $200,000 change order, so. But, anyway, we got it down a little bit, so.
So will there be a number of drains in, or just like in between each court?
No, there's
How's
just
that
there's 2 drains that are are like 2 foot wide, so the water will just run in and then run out. So
Are they,
they're going right now, they're full go, so, but we're probably looking at, mid-September. So I think we're gonna miss the girls' tennis season. I think Mike said it's done about mid-September, so.
Have we
He's gonna
talked
go
to,
to-
we've talked to the city then to use weed.
Yeah,
whacker.
they're gonna move out to Weed Park, I think, for this year, but we'll be ready in the spring.
Any other discussion? Okay, we have a motion and a second and discussion. So those of you who are in favor to approve the change order for the Muscatine High School tennis court reno in the amount of $174,380, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Okay, motion carried. The next item is to approve the white bulk paper order bid to Contract Paper Group for $25,107.60. What are the wishes of the board?
I'll make the motion to approve.
Second?
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any question? Okay, those of you who are approving the white bulk paper order bid to Contract Paper Group for $25,107.60, please signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposition? Okay, motion carried. Thank you. So we move into discussion and information, and the first item is June financial report. And I
Okay.
see Tom is ready for us.
So there's our June reconciled balances with comparing it to last month. The other reports will be presented in August and September as we continue to close out our fiscal year. So the last page is just an update on the student account balances. So the balances went down by about a little over 4%, negative lunch account balances by 13%. So just, we sent out 2 notifications through Parent Square since our last meeting, notifying parents that, by July 15th is the deadline before we basically turn over the balances to MCOA, the Municipal Collections of America, that you guys approved several months ago. So we're at that point where on the 16th, if there's whatever balance is left, we're going to turn those over to the service to help us collect the remaining balances. So just wanted to give you an update on that, and that's it. Thank you.
Any question for Tom?
Thank you.
Thank you, Tom. Thank you. And under discussion and informations, Section B, second reading of policies 605.06, Internet appropriate use. Number 209.02, adoption of policy. Number 3, 405.06, which is a new item, or new policy, license employee assignment. And number 4, 411.05, a new item, classified employee assignment. And number 5, 501.08, new item, student attendance record. Any question about any of these policies as we go through the second reading?
Yeah, the internet appropriate use, I'm still in favor, of course, as in how it's written or that, but I guess my question has to do with, is there a way that somehow as we go along, we're made aware of like, how is that put in practice? You know what I'm saying? As in, like, how are the teachers utilizing it? How are we expecting the kids to utilize internet, and the AI and all that?
We can do you're asking for an update on
Yeah,
what's
yeah,
happening
so
in the
that, like, we can
classroom,
have kind of
not
an
necessarily related to
Yeah.
the policy itself.
Yeah,
We can do that.
that'd be nice, thank you.
And remember now, if you have any question before we go through the third reading, I'm sure you can connect with Michelle and have that discussion with Michelle also if you have any question. So the second item here is the review board policy, administration, regulations, and exhibits. And we have only one item, which is 710.01R1, school nutrition program, civil rights complaints procedure. Any question about that? Okay, Thank you. So we move into item C, announcements, meetings, and events. July 21st, 25, school board work session at 9 a.m. here at the Admin Center, 2900 Mulberry Avenue. August 11, 25, regular board meeting, 6:15, here at the MCSD Admin Center, 2900 Mulberry Avenue. August 14, 25, Muskie University, new teachers, here also at the Admin Center, 2900 Mulberry Avenue. August 15, Impact Lifeblood Drive at 8:30 a.m. to 12 noon, here at the Admin Center, also at 2900 Mulberry Avenue. And finally, August 18, 25, all staff in service will be at the Muscatine High School, 2705 Cedar Street, starts at 8:30. Any other item, announcement, or meetings, or events to add to this? Well, Michelle, again, welcome also to the board meetings here. Thank you for doing a great work here. So do we have a motion to adjourn?
I make a motion to adjourn.
It's your turn, Denny.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Those of you who are in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you and good night.